Hello and welcome to the vlog for the finale of Dragon Age Season 3.
For those of you who missed him, Ray, who played Gwenail way back in Dragon Age Season 1, the very first campaign that I posted on my YouTube channel, he was able to drop in at the very tail end. So we're happy to see him, even if it's just for a moment, for him to join us for the vlog. And so I think the first question I wanted to start off with, just so that we get a chance to hear a taste of what Gwenail's been up to, because at this point Gwenail is the top. I forgot what the top mage, the
First
archmage,
enchanter,
first
or
enchanter,
grand enchanter if it's the
or
whole
grand
thing.
enchanter. Excuse me. He is the grand enchanter of the entire circle of magi. Um, what he has been doing in response to the great Kunari attack threat. So please, Ray, why don't you regale us with what's going on with Gwenail?
Oh, well, as far as I've been informed and such, for the actions, what's been going on for that is lots of.
I'm assuming Delwyn will be with you. So if you want to use Delwyn's character, I'm just assuming you guys are in there together.
Yes, but when we need to go explore things and such, that's where we definitely had. Work is the closest thing to getting a little bit of date time, it feels like, for them and such. It's like, all right, we have to go adventuring. Yes, it's just like a date night for us. It's like the old times. Grenell being a person kind of wanting to more focus on trying to improve a lot and use the resources and magic and all that and such, just trying to uh, bring peace and people together as much as possible. Definitely would have focused really hard on doing whatever it is and looking into uh, securing things to help optimize these things for peace and arrangements and stuff like that. If they're able to find things like a cure and such, it would want to have a place because it's going to be difficult for people to adapt to that. So it wants to have a place where people can meet peacefully and whatnot, and arrange for people to live there after that and stuff like that harmoniously. He wants to start focusing on how to integrate uh, everyone into what's going to be different, and continue to try to like clean up. Focus on being able to clean up right now after yet another battle, another great fight, another world-shaking event. I mean, how many of these one person get in one life and so didn't have to deal with this? Perhaps I chose the wrong career.
Perhaps.
Or maybe I'm just getting old. How old am I? How old is Gwenail at this point and such? How many years has it been?
I It's been about 20 years,
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
been
since
like
you're
17 years since then.
yeah,
Season one.
17, yeah.
since the end of C 17 years. So
So yeah,
yeah,
Gwenail is in his 30s now, I think, or late
that's not too
30s.
bad.
No,
Late 30s. You're younger than Gwenail's younger than I am. You're fine.
yes,
You're probably one of the youngest Grand Enchanters ever, actually.
yes. Because I had, I think Gwenail was, I think, 18, maybe 19 by the end of the event, like around 18, 19 by the end of the first event for that and everything. So yeah, uh, I'm choosing not to do maths right now.
And I'm assuming you've established a very good relationship and rapport with Andrea because of all of the scientific magical research you've been doing. And I would assume because you're in the White Spire that you probably have interacted with Cedric, because Cedric, at least for the duration of this campaign, was the Knight Vigilant, the head Templar of the circle of the, I'm sorry, of the Templars.
Yes, definitely. Gwenail was always from the beginning. He always felt himself as a scholar, but he has become more of a diplomat and noble and a what's the word I'm looking for? Political figure and stuff like that and everything. And he's a man of ingenuity, invention, and science and stuff like that. So that's the type of areas that he'd be focusing on and stuff like that. He's always trying to bring the best results through science or talk, peace, and such. So it's a harmony maker.
Would the Guardians have told Gwenail about the cure for tranquility, or would they have kept that a secret from him?
Oh,
Ray I never knew. So
Cedric.
that definitely would have been kept a secret for quite some time, but as they were, because it was always Cedric's plan to start rolling it out.
Oh, the cure for tranquility.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
At least as an option. So I feel like he probably would have been in like the early stages of telling like Gwenail and like the other senior like first enchanters of the circles to just kind of like, hey, prepare for this. It's going to affect a lot of things. So just make sure that you put your ducks in the right order before things get crazy.
Would you have told him where the location of the cure is?
Oh, no.
No. Okay, you wouldn't have told him. So I guess, given that, Ray, what would have been Gwenail's reaction that apparently there's a way to cure tranquility that exists?
I'm kind of upset people would hide this from Gwenail.
He's super paranoid, sorry.
He's super paranoid. Yeah. They told you eventually.
Yes.
Delirium does crazy things to your brain.
They told you eventually.
So being told eventually, Gwenail would have a huff because you didn't tell him sooner.
Yes, I can see that.
Oh, see, how dare you? Do you know how much I could have done if you would have told me this?
To be fair, my first act was to ban tranquility, so there have been no more tranquility.
Silver lining?
Silver lining. You just have to space these things out. If you change too much too fast, the traditionalists get all uppity.
Well, Gwenail's always been a part of the mindset that if someone elects to be tranquil and such, that's fine. However, he would have always been in the mindset, I wish there was a way to reverse it, because there are a lot of aspects that just without emotion, you can ration out. Perhaps you will ration out maybe it wasn't the best decision and such. I feel like while Tranquil probably can't really feel regret, they could have the idea of that they didn't do that and such, that it wasn't the best choice, or even realize that perhaps they were coerced into it from their emotions and stuff like that to be convinced into that, because you can make a decision and go, yeah, this is what I want, but it's not what you wanted, and what you actually wanted is what you felt that you wanted and such because of circumstance at the time. So you'd be very ecstatic for that. Kier, yes.
Yeah, you and Cedric have the exact same mindset. That's exactly what he thought as well.
Because of what Gwenail, because of what happened to Delwyn's mother, if you remember, Gwenail,
Yes.
Delwyn's mom became tranquil. Would you tell this to Delwyn, knowing that Delwyn probably would be demanding that cure right now? Would you tell him?
It's tested, yes, and works.
Did we do it to Hugh? And then he wanted to be half?
no, we
I can't
offered
remember
it.
what.
We offered it to Hugh, and he turned it down. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we've tested it. Yeah, we haven't tested it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we just kind of we found it in the Magister's estate, if I remember correctly, and then we hid it away. Pretty much, we didn't use it on anyone.
Gwenail would tell Delwyn that there is a possibility that there's something that might be able to help them, his mother, and so that, but not really go into details yet because we want to stress the importance of looking more into it, and they don't want to burden him with that and such, and hope that they don't ask too many questions because eventually Gwenail would give in and such.
Okay, fair enough. Is there anyone else who wanted to ask Ray anything about Gwenail before we move on to just the general vlog?
How's he do? No, I'm just kidding.
I could use more time to soak in the bath with some rose petals around and such, of course, and candles.
Oh, Theoben totally gets you.
Has he been enjoying his Omni tool more?
Oh, I forgot he got that. Oh yeah, that is probably good. That is probably one of his most prized possessions and such to this day.
Congratulations, everyone.
You
Thank
didn't
you.
die.
Yeah, you
Yep.
guys did it.
We did it.
Made it out unscathed.
Yep. Yeah. I did not expect that to go as smoothly as it did with.
Yeah,
That
I
went
mean-
extremely smoothly.
We, we implied logic on. Though he so made a lot of sense. Though, hey, if everything seems to be on a good horizon, at least for Tatus, hopefully. Unless some other world-ending Trek comes in and says, nope.
Then in the epilogue, we just decided, and then they went back to Harry Potter and got tanks and waged war on each other for no reason.
Thanks.
Tank wars.
Yeah.
That'll be Dragon Age 4, the Modern Warfare.
It's for modern.
For
Oh,
Athenium.
Hannah, since you gotta leave relatively soon, anything you want to talk about in particular?
I'm curious as to what you guys are thinking for your epilogues. Like what you think your characters. What is the next step for your characters? Because I mean, you've got this godhood now. This massive change. And I'm just curious. Like, I mean, where do your characters go from there?
Good question. Do not have an answer. We'll figure
I
it
don't
out
fucking
soon.
know.
I have a somewhat straight answer. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Community service of the winter, like that's the most obvious. Actually, it was something I hoped, but I never brought it up in any of the vlogs. I always went with I'm gonna go to probably prison or confine myself. But I always thought maybe this could work. Maybe community service.
He's just forever sweeping the streets of Tevinter.
With the high vis jacket and the
Yeah.
litter picker. Just
Picking up litter.
It's gonna be the janitor god, the janitor fairy in some fairy tales. I remember there's the I always think the janitor is just some sort of being that's unknown because he's always there. You don't really. He's just the guy there. But what if he's more than just that? What is his story? That's Tyrion in a nutshell. So I think I have a straight, easy epilogue, at least I think for me. But who knows? We'll see. More could be added.
Pasha.
Pasha's gonna be the most eventful of us all.
Pasha's basic plans are just usher the Kunari into an age of enlightenment.
Right.
Just
Revamp the whole
do
queue.
that for a bit, and then
No
afterwards, make use of her wedding bouquet to be like, Athon, marriage, now we go.
Nice.
In those exact words. No mistake.
Now.
She just appears on his doorstep in the white dress with the wedding cake and death. I'm just being like, it's happening. You are invited. It's your wedding. It's a surprise wedding. Come along.
I almost feel like the Qun might split into orthodox and unorthodox Qun, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm kind of seeing that.
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Kunaris, yeah, it makes sense. And the Kunari is not going to be split to a certain degree. There's going to be the Kunari who wants to change, and the Kunari who don't want to change.
I bet that's gotta mess with the Qun pretty bad. Is
Yeah.
they have to adhere by these terms or get smited.
Pretty much.
Just every once in a while, a thunder strike happens in the queue, and just for no reason,
Where does the chocolate fit in? To for Kimberly.
Yeah.
It's what happens when you don't bring me my chocolate on time. It's just very feisty.
Kuhn has airships going 24/7. Everyone's like, they're smuggling weapons, and it's like, no, it's just full of chocolate. It's going to Andrea.
Hey, at least we resolve everything peacefully, and we don't have to, I don't know, have another a continuation of the brawl.
Yeah. No god fight this time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better because if the gods fought, that would be catastrophe.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you guys were able to bring peace because when we were talking about this with Hark, he was like, so what do you guys think about doing it? And Kevin was like, exalted march. We beat them and then we push them.
Oh my
I
god.
was like, oh, okay.
Are you really surprised though?
I was all for it. Exalted March.
I was in the background because in the last session I had done my whole empathy shit that I described this session. So I was like, guys, don't fucking ruin this for me. I'm trying.
The empathy ability is been very useful. It's been used a lot throughout.
That
session.
I feel like it'd be very useful in real life, and I'm making prolific use of it here. And the nice thing is, it's not really manipulation or anything. It's just more context, which helps.
Right, more information.
It's more information, which helps in every scenario.
Why am I stabbing you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because none of it is false. No. You're not deceiving anyone. This is truly how the other people feel. So that's very legit.
In many ways, it's more honest than words because it strips away the words and the thoughts that make the words and just shows the feelings behind them.
I could see that getting to Dartham after a while, where he's just constantly hearing other people's voices in his head.
He goes insane.
He probably has to develop like eventually de-stress moments where he just turns off his power and just like, okay, a month of none of this shit.
So he's gonna make a confinement room for himself. It's actually pretty nice though. It's got everything he needs to calm down. Of course, Darren's there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shoot, we never dealt with Cepheus. I'm guessing we're just
epilogue.
The epilogue. Like, I don't know.
I mean, there's literally 5 of us that can just kill him like that now.
Dibs.
Yeah, just straight up.
So, do you want to be stabbed, thrown, or shot?
I was going to say, it's literally just he wakes up, my slumber is, and we just start kicking him to death. It's just like, get him!
He's just gonna wake up and I'm gonna be like, I never got to cast a spell beyond the first episode, so taint infestation, just over and over again.
Yeah, I mean for the epilogue, really I ask all of the players to just send me what they see happening with their character. And as long as they don't contradict with anyone else's, I try to implement that incorporate that into the epilogue.
So do we write it down, or do you do we send you ideas and you write it down?
Write bullet points and then
you can send it to me in any format you want. Some people actually write it out in like paragraph form. Some people give me a laundry list. It's up to you. And if you all want to talk about how you take down Cepheus, you're welcome to say that too.
And the Archon.
Oh, yes. The Archon who has been MIA.
We got a blood god.
Yeah, it's
true. You might be able to find him.
You can sense
like a blood compass.
Blood
blood for the blood god.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the only reason that blood mage worked with Cedric was because Leon was a god. Otherwise, it would have just been like, "Oh, you're a blood mage. Stab, stab, stab."
You must be excommunicated.
No, I think it was the whole like how you guys became a god.
Yeah.
You went into the Golden Temple and you touched the throne of the Maker. Therefore, you were blessed by the Maker. And you kind of, like, if he was a true blood mage, like that should and according to the Chantry, that shouldn't have worked. Like he should have been smited or something, or he would have like jacked everything up. But it didn't happen. He was blessed, and it's like, well, how would Cedric react to that? It's like, well, his whole religion and everything has just been a sham, just based off of that one thing. But yeah, if that didn't happen, if he was just achieved godhood, I would have sat there and been like, all right, guys, I am fine with Cedric dying, but he's going to attack you.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't see Cedric, if he believes that you should die, I don't see him being held back by, oh, you look stronger than me, or anything like that.
That's
I think
part
Cedric
of the
would
job. It's just part of the
he's
job.
gonna do the dying man. He's gonna do the dying man's rage, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was
If you told Andrea, she would have slapped you right in the face, Leon. Just right in the face.
Look, at least he was honest. At least he went. I liked how he just went. He just went. So yes, I'm a blood mage. Everyone.
I mean, you just gotta pull the band-aid off.
You'd be like, so, by the way, I'm a blood mage, Andrea. How dare you, you stupid idiot.
Also, I will say, I loved Cedric's reaction of like, there's only one God. Guys, there's only one. You're saints or you're beings or something. You're not gods.
I still don't believe it. I still don't believe you're gods.
Theoben doesn't either.
No.
The implication is not that these gods are equal, quote unquote, to the Maker, because the old gods were certainly not equal to the Maker. So, yeah, however you want to see them as, I don't think any of them are claiming that they are now like the same at the same level, because they're not. So
yeah,
even Daredevil was like, we got granted by the powers by the chair, but we don't know who made the chair.
His endgame boss is the Maker.
Time to go
Kratos. I mean
there you go.
I read.
Just by proxy of like how you guys described how you guys got your powers and ascended, it's like, okay, so you're kind of like a saint that was granted, like, you know how every saint has like, oh, this is what we kind of represent, like patron saint of lost souls. It's like, okay, those are your domains, and it's like that's kind of how Cedric rationalized it.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It's like, if you want to call yourselves gods, I mean, that's blasphemy, but whatever.
I'm a god.
So Kevin, a question for you, Kevin. While Cedric's giving up Night Vigilant, is he giving up Right Hand of the Divide as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's fully retiring. He's pretty much lost his faith with the Chantry, not so much the Maker, but with the organization,
the organized religion.
Yeah, because they've. I kind of hinted at this when I first was guest starred with you guys, that Templars are just as much prisoners as mages, but we're kind of brainwashed into being prisoners. And now that's that mold is broken, he's like, I want out. I want nothing to do with this. I still love the Maker, and I'm still Andrastian. It's just I don't like the Chantry.
Yeah, this kind of comes full circle to what happened earlier on during the it was before the campaign started. We had like a reunion session, and there was a conversation between Cedric and Hugh, if you remember, because Hugh was talking to Cedric about, you're being pulled in different directions, and he was like, I think you need to choose one. and he's like, not only do I think you need to choose one, I think I know what you should be choosing. But he wasn't being super explicit with it when he said that. So I think it's interesting that this happens at the very end.
Well, now he's gonna go on his porch and watch over the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Get off my lawn!
I've got ideas for what
he becomes the new circus demon.
He becomes the new circus demon.
Thank you, Kenna, for the counseling of Tyrion. Coming community service to Victor.
I am shocked that you got community service. I was sure you were going to be imprisoned for eternity. I was positive.
Well, to be fair, Kenna kind of helped.
Yeah, like
no amount. If it wasn't for that.
Yeah, I don't think any amount of persuasion to Calpurnia would have helped me. Tyrion essentially broke the entire thing that Calpurnia wanted, or at least somewhat broke it. And he was just there. Look, I know what I did, but I'm here and I can be some assistance to a certain degree. I can help, and I want to do something because I don't want to be just have this freaking thing all over my head. So yeah, it was very nice. Thank you, Kenna.
I think from Kenna's perspective, putting you in jail or anything other than having you help would have made you probably more of a martyr than anything else, and it might have made things worse. But having you two work together shows that both people can work for a common cause, and I think that's kind of trying to find common ground between two different experiences. And I think hopefully it works out for the best.
I mean, we'll have to see in the epilogue, I guess.
We'll have to see.
At least how Hark interprets it. But like, I think I hope Tyrion and Calpurnia's relationship in terms of essentially both, like, she's the leader, he's just the guy there to assist. to repay what he did. Hopefully, that might grow into something like a mutual benefit. And he'll also be as her watch guard if she tries to get assassinated. So there you go.
Hashtag Calpirin?
I was like,
hashtag Calpirin?
I couldn't remember. I'm like, does Tyrion have a romance? I wonder if
Oh,
Calpirin...
No.
Well, he does. He's a soulmate with Tumble, but other than that, he's got people on the side.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a full romance.
He has a bromance with Nathan.
Yes,
he has a bromance with Prince Nathan. Yes.
This is gonna be interesting. How like he's gonna be the leader of. He's gonna be like the helper of Tevinter, and he's gonna talk to like Prince Nathan at some point, and they'll have like some overseas relationships.
But to be fair, I think the bromance with Nathan is nowhere near the levels of the bromance between Cedric and Hugh. That's like not even. There's no context.
That's its own god tier right there.
That's its own other.
That has its own domain. That's the romance
That is
domain.
its own domain.
Yeah, I'll be honest. During that scene with you and Kim, I was halfway expecting Cedric to be like, I never loved anyone as much as you, except Hugh. See.
I mean, it's kind of fair though.
Pretty much. I call Cedric and Hugh like the Corey and Sean with Andrea being Topanga. With Andrea being Topanga. like my favorite person in the world and my wife.
Yeah. Well, at least I have a romance, so at least there's that.
Also, can I say I'm so happy that I took disease as one of my domains, just because then it dawned on me that addiction could be a disease, so that I was able to get this scene to happen.
It was good. It was really good. Cedric finally told Andrea too. Jesus.
Only took a god going up to be like, "Hey, buddy."
Listen, there might be
it's a saint. But actually, that the line where it's like lightning's always attracted to water. That whole conversation was just like off the top of my head, except for that line. And you can actually go back and watch season 2 at the end. I give Hugh a letter and I say, if I die, give this to Andrea. And that's how he ends it. He's like, we're gonna die eventually, but when I die, remember that lightning is always attracted to water.
See, this is why I don't like playing with Kevin as a player, because every time Kevin's like, I want to roleplay a scene, it's like, oh, can I put my scene first before Kevin does his scene? Because I don't want to go after Kevin. I don't want to go after Kevin. I go first, please.
But yeah, I've been waiting forever to say that line too. It's so like, nice. Oh my god.
It's such a good line.
Perfect time to do it.
Yeah. Right at the end.
Right at the end.
Right at the end.
We cut away then, but they're probably making babies after that scene.
I mean, he has more time now.
Yeah.
He has no.
How many kids you guys want? And if you need help, call your local doctor to. I mean,
becomes like a spectator sport to come watch Cedric go farm with his shirt off. People just come and plant a chair and just sit there and watch back as he farms.
I think I was going to propose a question to the group. If, I'm not making any promises, if there ever does become a hypothetical Dragon Age Season 4...
What? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
If there is a hypothetical Dragon Age Season 4 at some point, what would you like to see? What would you like to see in Season 4?
Ooh. Kunari Civil War. That's one thing I want to see.
Ooh, Kunari Civil War.
I want to see Kunari Civil War.
That would be pretty
I'm sorry, Calista.
Pick up my people.
I'm sorry, Calista, but I want to see it.
The Orthodox versus the unorthodox.
Yeah. And then I want to see that. Like the two things that point out to me are Kunari Civil War, and I want to see like the Darkspawn recovery missions or something like that. Like going into the deep roads and having to not kill Darkspawn but round them up and cure them. Like
I really only got one answer because I feel like once you've had players become gods, you've done most everything you could within the universe. But what would be really interesting is to kick it to the next age and see how like all 3 seasons change the world state.
Yeah.
Bump it up 50, 100 years or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh, maybe like the 2 souls, because there were 7 of the old gods and we only got 5 of them. The 2 became like, dark gods or some shit, and they ascended, and now like those have followers, or that could be some new threat, like a Sauron level shit. That I don't know, but
maybe some stuff that's going on in season 3, with the whole slave sort of the possibility if slaves do get freed. Maybe there's some, repercussions of, who knows, maybe a faction of Magisters.
Queen Antonia stuff. Want to see more Queen Antonia stuff?
Good. I think, though, I do agree with Tommy. Since we're now all gods, it's best the next age would make more sense.
Which you realistically only got about 50-ish years for that.
51 years.
So pretty much that would be just within the realm of being able to do it and still have the cast appear if you needed them for stuff.
What would the new age be called? What would you name it, Hark, if there was a new age?
I think people actually gave suggestions on what the new age would be, because people were saying like legendary age or something along those lines, because the age of legends, because we had the heroes of Ferelden, then we had the Guardians, the Pentaviv Guardians, then we had the Dragon Chakra avatars. So it's like this surge of hero groups that Thedas had never had before. So maybe something along those lines.
Age of Legends, Age of Heroes.
Yeah. That's like the ancient Greeks, right? They had the Age of Heroes, which is what all the stories are about. So
yeah, that's true. It could be something along those lines. I think really neat.
Age of Heroes, even something like the Age of Myth, or the Age of Myth, something like that.
Yeah, and it'd be really cool to refer to your characters as like the mythological beings that changed the world,
literally in some ways.
Yeah, I mean there might be characters who worship those gods. I mean. PCs who, if they want to follow that,
If we didn't jump that far, go ahead. I'm sorry, Gwenail.
There refuses to die. He'll unlock immortality.
Well, I mean, by that point, the Guardians will probably have been reincarnated, so that'll be interesting. And Balin might still be alive, and now has to help train the new Guardians. That'll be really interesting.
50s maybe if we went like 51.
He'll be in his like late 50s, early 60s by that point, so it's sort of like a Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of thing going on. Maybe
I just show up to Force Ghost and give him advice.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. I wish we'd be alive technically because we're gods, so we.
Oh yeah, we'd be fine, assuming nothing else happened.
Kenna's child would also be around too, so I'm curious about Kenna's child as well.
Yes.
And then Nathan would be in his 70s if nothing really like kills him till that point.
Yeah.
Question: lore-wise, how is what's the word? People who are bound with spirits and such. I can't remember the word now. How long do they normally live for?
We're spirit healers, Ray.
Yeah.
What's that?
You and I are spirit healers.
Hey, me too. I'm in that group.
Yay. How long can they live? That's a good question. I don't know because then
you have like certain types of the people who are fused with them and stuff that they called them. When it was Negus Malficarum, and they were kind of implied to live a long time, like Flemeth or whatever and such.
Right.
Really, really old. So, is it different for spirit healers? What's the differentiation on it?
Yeah, I don't know because I wasn't sure what the implication was. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so the thing with Flemeth is that she was hopping bodies, so that's how she got to live for that extent.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
Your bog standard spirit healer, I think they either have a completely normal lifespan, or if they do live longer, it's dependent on how long the spirit can fuel them. And as soon as that spirit dies, it's like, oh, I'm gone.
Yeah,
so if they were to do something like huge and massive, then it'd be effective. Like, oh, I've used up all of my excess.
Wynn was very. I think she was like what 80s, 70s, 80s, maybe. Random guess.
60s, 70s, I think.
Yeah, and most of that was because of the spirit healer. Like, she was getting people, but she did die though. Technically, she did die, and then she got revived. So that's the. I think probably they would go for 70s, 80s, maybe longer, depends on the spirit, and then at some point when they have to either the person has to pass and the spirit goes, or if the spirit goes, then they have to essentially either die or they age to the point where they can't do much anymore. So they'll probably live longer-ish, just not too long.
I guess my question to the Guardians, if we do a 50-year jump and we say that by that point your character is reincarnated, what would you roll? What characters would you roll as reincarnated characters?
I would roll a city elf who is a pirate.
Pirate city elf, nice.
Yes. So Tyrion's original pitch.
Yeah, my original pitch. Yeah, if he wasn't a doctor instead.
You know, we just gotta go for fun and say I'm a mage.
Oh my god!
Yeah. You know,
my gosh.
Not a blood mage. I'm not
a blood mage.
But a mage.
Nah, that soul won't allow that.
Yeah, though that happens.
That would be really interesting.
If that happens, blood mage.
Sure.
Do we want to go a classic motif with Arcane Warrior or go full mage?
I think he would go full mage. I think I would just have to go full mage at that point.
Have you ever played a full mage?
In D&D I have, but out of like the side games for Dragon Age, I've avoided the mage class.
Yeah.
He has a hate for them. Like,
well, I would like to think that, especially with Gwenael's influence and everything else that's changing in the Chantry, I'd like to think 50 years later there'll be mages are going to be in a very different place 50 years from now.
Probably.
Yeah,
the stigma will probably not be there as much.
I just think it'd be a cool,
Cedric gets his memories back and he's like, no.
So what about Hannah? I guess Sam and
Hannah.
Do you want to answer first, Sam, or?
Whoever is in charge of all of Thetis.
Whoever is in charge of all of Thetis. Okay.
Holy shit! That has to be the most ambitious goal.
I'll give you my answer just so Sam has time to think. So I'm thinking it would be a dwarf mage, I think. Because presuming that the work that Theo and Leon are going to be doing to kind of allow dwarves to kind of have that essence of magic, I think that could be a really interesting thing to explore. How their culture adapts to suddenly having magic, and because of that tie to Earth, I would have them focus on the primal school. Because of that connection. Maybe Arcane Warrior, just so that Kevin can focus on his pure mage, something like that. But I think that could be really interesting.
How weird would that be if Rosie was still alive and you're younger than she is?
That is Rosie's in her 60s or 50s.
Weird. Yeah.
You're 17.
It would be weird, but role play Goldeneye.
Yeah, because I think what's happened with Theoben, how Theoben was dealing with Balin, is probably going to be the similar thing with Rosie dealing with new Theoben.
And because he still has that connection to, or she, whoever I'm playing, still has that connection to Theoben, as in it's a recycled soul. There's going to be an element of them that looks at Rosie, who is this older woman. Mm-hmm. And kind of feel parental, even though she's much younger. So that is just a really weird thing to explore. But,
that's what Kimberly and I had similar conversations where it's if we get reborn and we find out who we were in our past lives, our kids, it's
Yeah.
Would we just like have like an innate thing to protect these people that we don't know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry, old woman, I've got you.
I'm a mage. Don't worry.
Well, it doesn't seem like too much crosses over. Otherwise, the scene with Balin and Theo would have been really weird. So clearly, there's some kind of new identity.
We'll see.
being
It
born.
didn't, but because we're here, we can just appear and give you like a pamphlet of like, "Hey, this was your last life and everything you need to know."
The gods just visit you and they're like, here's you go, here's who you were last time. Enjoy your new life now.
That's
We'll
welcome
see
to
you in like 100
reincarnated
years
and
or
you
so.
the pamphlet.
I sound like an asshole. What
No,
the heck?
They appear at the Golden City, and we're like, okay, so this is who you were. Here you go. This is who you were. You were. Now enjoy your new lives.
Why is mine all in diagrams?
That's how you spoke. I didn't fully understand it.
How many of you saw the Pixar movie Soul?
Me.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like it's gonna be one of those. It's before when you die and before you're reborn again, you go through this process, and they're like, okay, well, here are your previous personalities, and yeah, that kind of stuff.
Oh, Sam, any idea on your character you'd roll?
I think I go probably someone in the Cune. I think.
Oh.
Maybe one of the ones who decided not to say like. Would it be unorthodox?
Unorthodox. Yeah. Interesting.
I think so. And then
One of the Pashaites.
Yeah, I think the Pashaites. I think so. I think she'd still have that sort of playful personality, and I think that would be like a great place to foster it. Would be there. And I don't know how the dichotomy between Tevinter and the Kunari is going to be after this. That would be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, there's Pasht and Tyrion in both sides, so we'll have to see with that.
Yeah. What is also going to be interesting is 50 years from then, thinking about the dwarf character that Hannah was talking about. I'm sure you will have reclaimed a good majority of the Tigers by then. And the Dwarven Empire will be back.
Well, I was going to propose that actually in the question earlier when you were like, "Oh, if there was a Dragon Age 4, what could it be?" And it could be around like, so if we're reclaiming these Tigers, there could be all sorts of secrets and things long buried, and like we don't know what's there. It's been like closed away since the ancient ages.
Exactly.
Play a campaign based around Titans, maybe.
It could be, yeah, exactly. There's so much undiscovered because the Deep Road used to span the entire of Thedas.
Yeah.
So, there's probably tons in there to explore.
Also, the Darkspawn, the awakened Darkspawn will have probably established cities in the surface. So I think that'll be really fascinating. Their own new race, their own new species. So, yeah. I think that'll be really cool.
So do we start this campaign next week, Hark?
Yeah, it's going to be 10 players.
So I told myself if I ever did a season 4, I would wait till after Dragon Age 4 was released, because I might want to use material from the Dragon Age 4 game for this season 4 game. Because I used a lot of Dragon Age Inquisition in this campaign as well.
I will say, and this is just me and my personal stuff going, I absolutely love these 3 seasons. But something awful has to happen in season 4, okay? We've had too much good stuff. Dragon Age is dark fantasy. I want to see some bad shit happen.
Nothing good happened in our season.
What about Cedric and Andrea getting married and falling in love? Wasn't that a good thing?
They got married after the season was over.
Don't remember that our last decision we made in campaign. How do you want to f up the world? Like which flavor of?
And this whole season has been about last season really screwed us over. And we're like, what?
Yeah, and here the final choice is: do you want to be a god? Yes, no. That's the decision. That's the decision.
We pretty much.
Yep, I'll take it.
This is just Hark being like, it's too dark. Turn on the lights, please.
I need something fresh.
It's the end of the trilogy, so I kind of wanted to end on a slightly hopeful note, because there were things that I know that people wanted to fix in the real lore of Dragon Age, and so I figured, why don't we just fix them, and then new problems will just come up later. So things are definitely better for the dwarves and the darkspawn. Things are definitely better for the mages.
The most darkest I can think of the camp.
City of Revolution, yo.
I mean, the darkest that happened in this game was Tyrion killing Amryn, beginning an entire riot. So, don't know.
I remember they almost stoned me to death in it.
Yes. I'm sorry, my man.
What a line.
That's what happened, though.
True. And I feel bad. And I got blood money for that.
That
So when
was
do I
the
get
one
to
that
pay with interest now? No?
I can't wait to see if the reincarnated Andrea and Cedric find each other again.
Oh, that would be sweet. That would be kind of cool. It would be neat if, like, all throughout history, that was always a thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was alluded to that in our set, like
somewhere it was sort of.
It's when we
hinted at that it
connected with our
happened.
old selves.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that was like alluded to, but
it makes sense. Water, electricity do attract each other, so that it does make very good sense thematically.
I loved the scene where Andrea was like, your husband sold me out. I was his friend and you were a hoe. I love that. I love that
too.
so much. But also there was something that Russo said that I imagine Pasha would have had a oh no, was when he said, I'm a Talvashoth raised by a Tamazran. But she was having the reaction of, oh no, it was the exact same reaction when Tyrion was like, I'm a certified doctor in a court of law, because Russo isn't Talvashoth.
We had the whole scene where he proclaimed himself as Talvashoth to you.
But that's not what a Talvashoth is. A Talvashoth is someone who has lived under the Cune and rejected it. Random Terry from Ferelden being like, I reject the Cune, not a Talvashoth. Russo isn't Talvashoth.
Well,
so she was just like, oh, he's using the term.
Does it work in lore where a Vashoth, if given the choice of the Cune, says no, it's considered about the same?
No.
Oh.
If a Vashoth has never lived under the Cune, then they can only ever be Vashoth. So she was just kind of like... She was just kind of like, he's using the term wrong in front of my boss.
I mean, yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah. We make mistakes,
it's realistic.
Right? Yeah.
I think that's realistic.
I'm right there with you, Russo. I mess it up all the time.
He's married to one.
I'm married to one, and I'm still like, but aren't you Kunari? No. Oh. Sorry.
Don't put that evil on me.
Don't you dare. We do not use that word in front of our children.
That's the Q word. Like your M word, we do not use.
All right.